Hello everyone, welcome to the Lightning Ball channel. We will continue with our review of Tensura Light Novel 11. In the previous episode, we've discussed how 3 primordial demon beauties joined the Monster Federation. In this episode, we will delve into Luminous' invitation and concerns, along with the next steps for the Rosso family. Let's get started. A few days after naming all the demons, Rimuru, who had just prepared to live a leisurely life, received Hinata's invitation to visit the school, looking forward to meeting with the long-unseen children and Hinata. It's important to note that Rimuru had established a school in the Monster Federation similar to the Free Academy in Ingracia to nurture the children. As more and more humans had settled in the Monster Federation, it had become very realistic to enable their children to learn about human society and socialization. As usual, upon seeing Rimuru, the children joyfully rushed up to embrace him, gathering around to share recent interesting occurrences. However, at this moment, a cute girl in elegant kimono and kappa head hopped in front of Rimuru, leaving him a bit perplexed for a moment. He didn't remember such a lovely little girl, but upon seeing the fox ears on her head, he recalled she was the super rare 9-tailed creature he had acquired when defeating Clayman a long time ago. During the founding festival, he casually named her Kamara in hope of making her a labyrinth guardian. Now she had grown to a state where she could take on a human form. Following the meeting with the children, Rimuru and Hinata moved on to the labyrinth. Hinata expressed that the reason she invited Rimuru was to show him how the children had grown under her and Hakuru's guidance. Excited by these words, the children were full of enthusiasm, eager to spar with Rimuru, who thought it would just be a playful skirmish with the kids and cheerfully accepted the challenge. However, an hour later, Rimuru completely changed his mind. Under Hinata and Hakuru's tutelage, these kids had made remarkable progress, far surpassing average holy knights. Whether it was Kenya's versatile swordsmanship, Gale's ironclad defense, or the domineering Alice who could cast golem creation, they all astonished Rimuru. Each of Kamara's tails could transform into an A-class monster, which, even in a battle against Hakuru, could win through sheer numbers, making her as powerful as the 10 great saints. Yet, the strongest among them was Chloe. Contrary to her cute appearance, Chloe was the only one who made the awakened demon Lord Rimuru feel threatened. Her swordsmanship, on par with Hakuru and Hinata's, and her unmatched talent forced Rimuru to abandon his adult composure and face her seriously. This encounter made Rimuru finally understand Hinata's reason for the invitation. The children had extraordinary strength at such a young age, and there was a need to appoint more powerful mentors to prevent them from straying down the wrong path. However, Hinata mentioned that this was only one purpose. Another aim was to invite Rimuru and his companions to a grand music concert being organized in the Holy Empire Ruberios. Though slightly surprised, Rimuru promptly agreed. Unable to resist the children's entreaties, Rimuru decided to take Diablo, Cheyenne, and the kids to the Holy Empire Ruberios. It's worth mentioning that Ranga could hide in Rimuru's shadow, providing constant protection. Not long after settling down in the Holy Empire Ruberios, Rimuru was summoned to Luminous' luxurious room. Luminous was evidently delighted that Rimuru did not bring along the annoying storm dragon. Rimuru slightly nodded, indicating that bringing Veldora could quickly escalate to a war with Luminous. Perhaps due to the topic initiated through Veldora, the two quickly found common ground. After some casual chat, they began to address the main issue. Luminous indicated that there was something bothering her, unsure whether to inform Rimuru, but eventually decided to speak out. It was about Gran Bell Rosso, who seemed to plot something, and the concert in 3 days which Luminous was greatly looking forward to. However, to prevent any mischief from Gran Bell, she thought of asking Rimuru for assistance. Upon hearing this, Rimuru, who was eating a cake, paused, while Cheyenne on the side nodded continuously. Diablo, however, appeared indifferent, probably thinking that eliminating the threat should be a piece of cake. But for Rimuru, this was quite a challenge. This wasn't his country, and aiding in a conflict would mean relocating his forces here, which seemed excessive. Moreover, with Hinata, who usually maintaining security, not being around, the situation was quite complex. It seemed Luminous didn't merely need military strength, which left Rimuru lost in thought for a moment. Noticing Rimuru's confusion, Luminous began to clarify. It turned out that Luminous wasn't afraid of an overt attack from an army, but more concerned about covert attacks, especially since the Holy Empire Ruberios had fortified its defenses significantly after being ravaged by the storm dragon 2,000 years ago. Even against enormous armies, their defense stood firm. But Gran Bell was different. As a former head of the 7 luminaries, and always active within Ruberios, he was bound to have 1 or 2 secret passageways prepared. Besides, Gran Bell held another identity, that of a former hero of light. To clarify, a hero of light isn't just someone self-proclaimed or acknowledged by the masses as a hero, but much like a demon lord. Heroes are categorized as those possessing a hero's egg, and those who have hatched the hero's egg, akin to demon lord seed and awakened demon lord respectively. By this analogy, Gambell Bell Rosso, like an awakened demon lord, possessed a formidable strength that even awakened demon lord Luminous couldn't overlook, making a covert entry into the Holy Empire Ruberios a breeze for him. Just then, Diablo blurted out, wishing Luminous not to bother his Rimuru-sama with such trivial matters. The faces of Pope Louis and Gunther, standing beside Luminous, darkened instantly. However, a laugh from Luminous eased their anger, finding it hard to believe that the primordial black had also seen a day of being tamed. Rimuru hurriedly asked Diablo to step back, expressing the intention to maintain the friendly rapport with Luminous and continue it in the future. Apologizing graciously, Rimuru admonished Diablo, who then bowed and calmed down. Luminous, unfazed, smiled slightly and continued discussing Gran Bell. Gran Bell was a legendary figure, perceived as a righteous individual who had always wished for peace in the human world, fought against evil spirits, vanquished malicious beasts, established the Western Council, and made a pact with Luminous. Under his guardianship, humanity enjoyed a millennium of peace. Even though now part of the questionable 5 Elder organization, all his actions, whether perceived as good or evil, were undertaken under the grand guise of protecting humanity. So why would such an individual suddenly act against Rimuru and Luminous? The reasons weren't clear, but one of them was Gambell Rosso, the Greed, who had attacked Rimuru earlier. Moreover, according to Luminous intel, Gran Bell had been communicating covertly with Yuki, who was the mastermind behind many previous incidents, implying one of the targets of his actions was Rimuru, who had just left the Monster Federation. Luminous further stated that she had no grievances against Gran Bell, but thought of one possible reason, although she could not disclose this to Rimuru. Just to be safe, caution was advisable. Luminous merely desired to enjoy the concert peacefully. With a calm expression, Luminous seemed as if what she just discussed wasn't a major issue. Cheyenne and Diablo carried on normally, indicating that under the guardianship of 2 of the Big 4, Rimuru would not be harmed. Thus, the late-night discussion concluded. Rewinding the clock slightly, in a mysterious meeting venue, the ruler of Rosso family, Gran Bell, was engaged in a secretive conversation with Yuki. Upon hearing the news of Maribel's demise, a vacant look overtook Gran Bell's face, signifying the vanishing hopes of the Rosso family's future. The weary expression on Gran Bell's face deepened as he closed his eyes. Gran Bell then indicated that only the hidden treasure of a certain noble figure could be relied upon for retribution. It was clear in this setting that Yuki had placed the blame for Maribel's death on Rimuru, while he was the real mastermind. From the beginning, Yuki had been scheming to seize Maribel's unique skill, Greed. However, Yuki was taken aback by Gran Bell's words. The noble figure Gran Bell referred to was undoubtedly the demon lord Luminous, but what was this treasure? And why was Gran Bell disclosing this to him? Yuki directly questioned Gran Bell on his motives for sharing such information. Gran Bell expressed disdain at the notion of having ulterior motives. Being the de facto leader of the Western nations, Gran Bell had a high regard for Yuki. With Maribel gone, he saw no one other than Yuki to whom the Western countries could entrust their future. Gran Bell could not fathom entrusting humanity's fate to Demon Lord Rimuru, who he believed would eventually lead humanity into decadence, plunging the world into chaos with much bloodshed. A dire notion indeed. Yet Yuki remained wary, pressing Gran Bell for his reasoning against Rimuru. Gran Bell's response was startling, claiming his intuition as a former hero drove his vendetta against Rimuru. Yuki perceived Gran Bell, despite his eloquent words, as a weary old man nearing his end, possessing no apparent strength surpassing Mirabel's. Such a person, citing intuition for such a profound motive, seemed utterly unconvincing, prompting Yuki to decisively rebuff Gran Bell. Gran Bell's anger flared, chastising Yuki for his folly. He stressed that with Mirabel dead, it wasn't the time for intrigue. Although they could opt to align with the Eastern Empire, the mysterious upper echelon there was untrustworthy. Hearing this, Yuki scoffed inwardly at Gran Bell. Unlike Gran Bell, Yuki was not a human supremacist. Whatever form human society took was inconsequential as long as he could ultimately seize control. However, the mention of the treasure capable of defeating Rimuru piqued his interest. Gran Bell conveyed to Yuki that there was no demand for absolute trust between them, a temporary alliance would suffice. As a reward, the hidden treasure of Luminous, the ultimate weapon that once sealed the storm dragon Veldora, was to be entrusted to Yuki entirely. Upon hearing this, Yuki couldn't help but express his astonishment. According to Gran Bell, the mightiest and most famous hero who sealed storm dragon Veldora was now guarded within the holy crystal coffin of Demon Lord Luminous. Per his plan, once the battle commenced, Gran Bell would assault the Grand Cathedral of Luminous, create chaos, and Yuki would seize the opportunity to snatch the holy crystal coffin. This way, they could utilize the mightiest hero to exterminate two demon lords, accomplishing Gran Bell's objective. For Yuki, this meant acquiring a powerful piece on the chessboard. Hearing this, Yuki began to ponder seriously. The benefits were immense, which caused a stir of doubt within him, yet the success of this plan could significantly boost his scheme to conquer the world. Nonetheless, Yuki found this proposal quite tempting. Hence, he eventually united forces with Gran Bell, and they clandestinely began devising their battle strategy. Subsequently, the Rosso family mobilized en masse. The Rosso family's two primary military institutions, the Foreign Intelligence Agency of Siltrasso and Blood Shadow, were fully prepared for war. It's worth noting that Blood Shadow was the organization to which Glenda previously belonged, a military body formed by summoners from another world. Bound by contracts, these individuals from another realm possessed massive magical reserves. Much like Rimuru's students, many perished early, unable to harness the internal power, with only the survivors joining the ranks. Meanwhile, Gran Bell Rosso also summoned the Northern Warrior, Insector Razo, known for single-handedly resisting the Northern demons. Meanwhile, Yuki's moderate Harlequin alliance also readied for war following Yuki's command. Moreover, apart from the factions of Rimuru and Gran Bell, there was one more individual, Demon Lord Leon Cromwell, who, upon learning of Primordial Yellow's disappearance, was advancing towards the Holy Empire Ruberios. Leon's residence, the Golden City El Dorado, had been plagued by Primordial Yellow for years, but recently, Primordial Yellow had vanished. He was unaware that Primordial Yellow had taken flesh in this world and assumed the name Carrera. The reason for Leon's visit to Ruberios would be elaborated upon in later reviews. The day of destiny was fast approaching. Gran Bell's plan was not solely aimed at subjugating Rimuru. Demon Lords Luminous and Leon were also eventual targets. In the eyes of Gran Bell, an unfathomable hatred blurred his vision. For the sake of humanity, Gran Bell had striven for over a millennium, yet now he had lost hope. Throughout these 1,000 years, Gran Bell endured too much. One hardship followed another, betrayals from confidants, the death of companions, and the demise of his last hope, his granddaughter Maria Bell. His dream of a peaceful human society seemed now unattainable. Now, monsters had their octogram of demon lords threatening human society. The northern territories had become a playground for the Dark Emperor Guy's demons. Earth Rage, the Titan Lord de Gruel, seemed ambitious and interested in human territories too, and so on. Gran Bell had always protected humanity from these powerful entities, but he was weary. His lifespan wasn't infinite, and with Maria Bell gone, no one was fit to succeed him. Without a mediator, humanity would tread on the path of ruin, with even companions likely to fight each other, for such was human nature. In the distant past, Gran Bell's wife, Maria, had suffered similarly. For a long time, Gran Bell bore his sorrow, but now all was at an end. Gran Bell no longer wavered, he had grown desperate. This was his final battle. If protection proved impossible, then let everything perish with the demon lords. Well, that is all for this video. In the next episode, we will discuss the turmoil in the Holy Empire Ruberios. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.